for all the world to see. A statue of a fool made of stone.
Welcome to this edition of the Ballin' Out Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, here with my co-host, Swanny. How you doing tonight, man?
Not a lot, man. I've been better.
Right?
Been worse, but definitely been better.
I said the same thing earlier this week. Buddy, we both know what we're here for tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor.
Yeah.
You said you had a rant you wanted to get out there, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, sir.
Some things I wanted to talk about Saturday night. Very frustrating. Very difficult to watch. I got home from work, and I wrote these notes at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, my.
Basically, I just wanted to talk about how I was so frustrated about how everything went down Saturday night. From beginning to end, it was ugly. It looked like they just kind of bullied us the entire game in the line of scrimmage. Both sides of the ball just pushed us around like we didn't have to play. They just
manhandled us. Manhandled us.
A couple things I kept seeing on the internet. A lot of people putting this on Nico, and I could see why. I think that you got to go pretty far down the list of blame before you get to Nico. There were some moments that were real frustrating with him, especially obviously the last play. You not get rid of that ball.
I think that's where a lot of people come up with that. That's their first, because that's the last thing they've seen. That's their first. Well, it's his fault. No, go ahead. I'm with you. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, that's not where the game goes. It didn't end there. It was a boneheaded play at the end, but that's not where we lost. He had an ugly stat line. It wasn't a great game for him, but it's his sixth start now.
Yeah,
I have no doubt in my mind that the next time Nico is in that situation, that he's going to make the right play. Basically, what I'm getting at with him is I don't want to, we're not throwing the whole kid's career away because of what happened in Fayetteville.
Right.
He's going to get better. He's going to improve. Especially, I'm not going to entertain any conversation about him being the problem. Especially after last season when we had another quarterback who was doing the same things. The running out of bounds at the end was like a mirror image of what Joe Milton did against Ole Miss. And that guy got so much grace when we were judging him last year. Nico better get the same thing. I know he's an $8 million quarterback and he has all this hype, but he's also his first season as a starter in college. He's 20 years old.
Sure.
So he's going to get the same grace.
As he should.
That's it. That's just the end of that. But like I said, there's a list. Before you get to Nico, at the very top of the list of blame, I think you got to look at Chapel. That was
I would agree with that.
Very timid. Probably his most gutless performance as a head coach at Tennessee.
Ooh.
I mean, how do you go from you're up 30 against Kent State and you kick an onside kick, but it's 4th and 3 side opponent territory and you punt it at a point where we need it, where a conversion would be huge. The road questions, hop on the road, those questions are well alive and well.
Back. Yes.
Oklahoma is more a liar than the answer to the question.
Yes.
I think that's where the blame goes. And don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not calling for a new coach. There's no way in hell. This is not the time for that, especially when Florida's going to be open next year and don't need to start over. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it's frustrating. And especially with that, the way we looked coming into this game, coming out of a bye week, 4-0, number 14 in the country, coming off of a bye week into Arkansas, a team that we should have beat handily, and to perform like that sounds a little familiar, does it not? 2016, Butch Jones coming into South Carolina off of a bye.
Absolutely.
I'm not comparing the two, but there's some similarities here.
Sure.
Moving on from there, made a lot of boneheaded plays. a lot of penalties, a lot of drive-killing penalties. Not our final drive, but the drive we had the ball before that. I counted 2 starts, I think, in that drive alone.
Yes.
Legal men downfield, the from the punter, the running into the kicker. That was a bag breaker, man. We had to stop.
It was.
We had to stop. I don't know how we got worked on the offensive line. We couldn't keep Nico upright or in the pocket.
He
and then go ahead.
No. Go. You finish. I wanted to give you this one.
Just an awful performance all the way around from Tennessee, and I went through so much emotion since Saturday night. It started with just anger immediately. I was done. I didn't want to talk to anybody. There were feelings of, were we back? Are we back where we used to be now? Is this just, calm down. It's been about 48 hours since then. There's a lot of football to be played. Georgia got a loss. Emma's got a loss. We're neck and neck with them still. There's a lot to still play for, and we're not out of. It's not like we're out of the playoff hunt because of those. Everybody's getting beat. We talked about this before the season. Everybody's going undefeated in the SEC. It just really is a bummer that that's the one we dropped. Now, I will say, to give Arkansas credit, that's a good football team. I think by all measures, they're better than Oklahoma is. I honestly believe that.
I want to say we're going to get an answer to that because I want to say they have to play here soon. I don't remember if they got Oklahoma or Texas out of that draw, but I want to say they got Oklahoma.
It looked better than Oklahoma did to me. That's a better team than we wanted to give them credit for. Arkansas is, and so hats off to them. I don't want we don't need to freak out like we lost to UT Chattanooga. Like we lost to Vanderbilt. Exactly. Good shit.
You know, I had to get that dig in.
Just very, very, very frustrating to come out of that. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna dig in on that one anyway. By the way, I was so pissed about that. Like, my phone was getting blown up after that game. I was like, talking about Alabama getting beat at Vanderbilt, and I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but we still got a game to play. Everybody got a good laugh at Alabama right before we got our asses kicked. And I know we lost by 5, but we got our asses kicked.
Oh, no, we did. We did.
Bullied. That's the only word that I think that applies to that is bullied.
I would say that or manhandled. We got manhandled. I was writing down a couple things while you were doing your rant. You remember here last episode before we did for the Arkansas preview, Billy kind of said he thought that this would be one of those games where we could see some tough competition in that secondary, and we did. We did. I put the receivers not being able to separate way ahead of blaming Nico, and it come up with the same guy you were mentioning in that as far as getting grace last year. So it's one of those things, man. That's in the SEC it matters, and I'm not taking up for Joe in that case. I'm just saying it's one of those. That was one of those games where the receivers couldn't get separation. They had big physical corners on us. They had big physical wide receivers too. And buddy, it showed. We're going to talk about some stat lines here shortly.
Actually, I kind of just glossed through my notes that I typed out there, but I was actually going to give Joe some credit because of the receivers. I think we might have overrated our receiving core coming in. I don't think any of them are that good. And it's the same guys as last year. Look, man, I've always been one to. I don't want to criticize kids.
Right.
I don't want to talk about 21-year-olds like that. But these 21-year-olds are now getting paid more money than you and I will ever see.
Right.
To hell with them. I don't think their receivers are that good. Receivers. I don't think they're that special. And it's the same guys as last year. So if that's what Joe's working with, then maybe I got to rethink a little bit of how I felt about Joe while he was here.
Touche. You mentioned hype, dude. The road questions, I felt a lot better about it after Oklahoma. I was like, yeah, maybe. But then he turns around and he comes out there. I don't want to say on that. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Georgia said in the past couple of weeks, Georgia is flipped to we're beating them. I'm back to lose it to them. Writing it off as a loss again.
Well, we'll get into that here too, because we got more to talk about. But the road questions are definitely alive and well again. You see it all over the socials, and they should be. They should be, because we are a better team than Arkansas. Kind of goes into what you said about giving them credit, though. They come out and just, whooped our ass, man. Plain and simple, just whooped our ass, and it was a manhandling is what it was. It was not pretty. Also, like, to kind of go into what you were saying about Heupel, no excuse for us to come in looking that ill prepared off of a bye week. I don't know it was a lack of preparation. I think, I seen something earlier this week. Dylan Sampson kind of said it. We sat around and got a little complacent this past week, reading all the newspaper clippings about how good they were and stuff like that. So maybe that'll take care of that. Also, last thing I'm gonna say on this rant, on your rant here, unless you've got any more to it.
I think I've gotten gist of it out.
I wish I was wrong, but I told you boys last week this was not going to be an easy game. I didn't feel like it was going to be an easy game.
No, I don't think it was a trap game. I don't think.
No. I did bring that up. I think we debated that. I don't think it was a trap game, but I thought, that quarterback is good enough to give us fits, and he did.
I think Florida would be more accurate of a trap game, because they're not. Arkansas is better than Florida.
I
also think you have to be good and have a trap game on your schedule. I'm sorry, pessimistic Swan's back, man. It's over.
Oh man, the honeymoon is over. Hit the panic button, kids.
Yep.
You're like, I was like a blind hooker. I never saw it coming. Man.
I've seen some message boards that said we need to get rid of Hype and Nico, and it's like, come on. Like, get over it.
Let's
not overreact here. I probably overreacted myself because of, it was ugly.
Actually,
but we gotta put it behind us, man. The next 3 games are in Neyland Stadium. We gotta win all 3 of them.
The next 4.
It's 4. I'm only looked through October, or I've got October in my sights right now. I want to get through October 7-1, and then we go from there. Because after that, Mississippi State at home.
Mississippi State at home, and then 2 Georgia.
Sorry, that's a win.
Yeah.
That Tennessee team that showed up Saturday night against Arkansas would beat Mississippi State by 3 touchdowns.
Oh, absolutely.
Mississippi State's bad.
They're bad. They are. They're
These next 3 are going to be. These next 3 are huge.
All right, so let's put some lipstick on this pig and call it a day on this here. Final 19-14 in favor of the Hogs. Neither one of us was great on third down. Tennessee went 7 for 16. Arkansas went 6 for 16. Fourth down, we were 0 for, which was big because a couple of those were, were.
Yep.
The game-changing situations right there. Arkansas was 1 for 3. Mm-hmm. We know which one the one that they got was big for them. To me, this is the stat that tells the game right here. It did. There's 2 stats in this game though that tell the tale for me. Arkansas 44 rush attempts for 134 yards, 3 yards per carry. We're not getting with that. That's not a lot of yardage, but they're picking up the right amount on 44 attempts. Yeah. So,
it's a tricky situation, right? Because the defense looks like they played really well. The defense played really well. They played very poorly in really key situations. They were Arkansas's last drive with the ball.
Yes.
It was like, a 20-yard run and a 15-yard run right off the rip. Now they're in field goal range.
Yeah.
Just bing, bang, boom.
Yeah. They played good, but in situational football, they were bad. Yeah. Very bad. Arkansas went 21.
You know what really pisses me off about it is the night before that game. I'm not going to say how much money I spent on these tickets, but I bought Bama tickets, and then we come out and play like that less than 24 hours later. A little upset. I'm a little pissed off.
So at least you're going to watch a team that Vanderbilt beat. So
let's save that for at least the end of the show. We can talk about Vanderbilt all night. Let's get back to the recap. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Arkansas, 21 for 30 passing, 297 yards. That average per completion, 9.9. So, that's that 9.9 is pretty consistent with what they averaged on the year. It was like 13 and some change per completions. That, was consistent on their end. Taylor Green, 19 for 27, 266 yards before they sat him down after we rang his bell.
Yeah.
These are the ones
and that's another
that
thing too. We should have had that wrapped up after he left the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what the hell happened to all the momentum? We come out of halftime, score right away, stop them, score again. What happened?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. That is a fantastic question. I would love to know that myself because, they come out like their head was on fire in the second half. Just to compare here, Nico, 17 for 29, 158, no touchdowns, not jack shit, 5.4 yards per completion. Rushing, we did outrush them on 36 attempts for 174. We got 4.8 yards per carry. Call me crazy, though. I'm taking 4.8 yards a carry on 36 attempts. That's great, but you give me 3 yards on 44 attempts every time because that tells me I'm moving the ball and I'm chewing the clock.
Didn't abandon the run, and I was glad to see that.
I don't think
there's a positive to be taken out of this. We didn't give up on it when we could have in the first half.
Right.
Because it wasn't moving. It wasn't doing anything.
Here's something that I do want to kind of dive into, though. Arkansas on their 44 attempts are pretty, they split it up pretty good. I'm not sure how many times we had Taylor Green scrambling, but Braylon Russell, 8 for 62. Jaquindon Jackson, 20 for 57 and a touchdown. Malachi Singleton, 4 for 12 yards and a touchdown. On the flip side of that, you've got us. Nico ran the ball for 11 times. I didn't even care to write down the yardage. Dylan Sampson, 22 for 138, 6.3 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. If there was a bright spot, that's it right there. Deshaun Bishop, 3 carries for 19 yards. I want to know why we didn't see more of him this week. He's been solid toting the rock. And where's Cam Selton?
Yeah.
Let's break.
He was hurt last I heard, right? I don't know.
He was in for a kick return in that Arkansas game. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm wondering if he's in the doghouse somewhere somehow. Not to speculate or anything, but I'm curious because that kid's talented and he is a hoss. So makes me wonder. Break down the receiving stats here though. For us, for Tennessee, I didn't care to go much past this because to me, this just kind of tells the tale because these are our 2 best. Dante Thornton, 1 catch for 42 yards. Squirrel, 7 for 38 and a broken collarbone is the word. They say he's hype kind of danced around the injury question today though. So we'll see what happens there. Hats off to these 2 though for Arkansas, man, especially Mr. Armstrong, Andrew Armstrong, 9 catches for 132 yards. And dude, that kid is he's huge. He's a monster out there. And Isaiah Satina,
he had 20 catches on the year. He had 20 catches on the year going into that game, and we gave him 9.
Jesus Christ, man. Isaiah Satina.
Man, this is the most frustrating. South Carolina was bad, but it wasn't this bad.
We could debate that one.
It was fresh. It's frustrating to see us perform like that. South Carolina was just mind blowing. Just like, how are they doing this to us?
Yeah. Like that one.
After
they
scored
more
6 points last week, and now they're scoring 63. This is
Connor
just
Stallions.
This is far more frustrating.
Yeah, it is. I'll agree with that.
In my humble opinion, everything you're reading off here is just pissing me off more. I was cool-headed coming into the night. So I'd calm down. I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. Everything's okay. And then the more we're talking about this, the more mad I get. I'm again. I feel like I just watched us lose.
You give me a few minutes, I might be able to talk you down. You know how I am. Isaiah Satinga, 5 for 72 yards, 14.4 per catch. This offense right here, reading these numbers off, dude, it screams Bobby Petrino. Screams it. He's got big athletic wide receivers. Granted, they've not seen the ball a whole lot this year, but he runs the ball pretty well. It's just, man, I'm with you. This is a frustrating loss, and this is where I'm going to try to maybe talk you off the ledge just a little bit. I spoke with one of my Alabama buddies this week, and he actually listens to the show. He matter of fact, shout out Three Kings, one of the sponsors. He was telling me that and me and him were kind of talking about, Alabama losing, us losing. And he said, he made a good point with the 12-team playoff era. It's made it a lot easier for teams that are favored big to not necessarily get up for a game like this. And it's made but the underdog teams, man, they're ready for them, Look at those two games right there. Also, I'm going to say this.
It was a crazy weekend. It was a crazy weekend in college football.
It was.
It
was. It was just one of those weekends, man. Shit happens, and here we are. I will agree with you, going back to your rant, because I put down in my takeaways and stuff. The play calling on the road, man. Why are we so different on the road than we are at home, man? Like, you at home, man. He's just like, that's all the
ball shriveling up.
It is. It really is, man, because he needs a damn wheelbarrow to carry them things in the Neyland Stadium. We go into unfriendly confines unless it's Oklahoma, and he's just like, well, his voice gets a little higher, and
just like, I just want to take a shower. I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it seems like. And I don't get it. Because the teams that we've lost to, even going back to last year, that Alabama game last year, Tennessee had that game, I mean, just right here, man. They had them just by the neck. And slowly but surely, that grip kind of loosened up a little bit. Next thing you know, Alabama rips off 34 unanswered, and we're beat. Missouri last year, Drink stood on business, and we just got beat like a redheaded stepchild. Arkansas, I don't care what that scoreboard said, 19-14. That game was not 5 points close. We play a team with more talent than that Arkansas team. They boat race us.
We win that game 14-13 Saturday night. I'm not as down because we got to win, but I'm probably just as frustrated.
Yeah, it would have felt like a loss, almost, just because
yeah, go ahead.
I would have been like, you know what? We went on. I would have tried to spin it to myself as we went on the road in a hostile environment, a place we haven't won at but twice since 95. Got the win. Yeah, we look like hot garbage doing it, but by God, we got it. And it's on to Florida. We're going on to Florida 5-0, and here we are. But that's not how it went down. Also, we did get manhandled. And I'll tell you, the one stat that tells me that we got manhandled, I think a lot of people take it at face value because it's usually lopsided like this anyway. We only held the ball for 24 minutes, man. That's typical, and we're usually okay with that because we're scoring 50 points a game.
It's fine when you're up 48-12.
Exactly. That's where I'm going with this. Arkansas didn't have the best defensive game plan to beat us. We done plenty to help them out with our offensive play calling. They had the correct offensive game plan. Because if you can eat clock like that and you can pick up 3 yards of play and you're going for 4th and 1, a couple times in your own territory or whatever, where you're probably not expected to, but it's likely you're going to get it. You're going to change the game and you're going to keep that time of possession and that clock tick, 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 tick. And they did exactly what they should have done on offense. That's where they beat us at. I would put this one as much on the offense as I would, or on the defense as I would hype, even though the defense statistically looked really damn good. But at the end of the day, your offense has got to give your defense more than that to play for. And more than 14 points in a quarter to win the game, period.
Yeah.
So it's just, man, that was just frustrating. I know but we're on to the friendly confines of Neyland this week. So
It'll be good to be home. It'll be good to be home for sure.
It will be. Last but not least, before we close this one out, did Tennessee use up their mulligan game this week? I would say so.
Yeah, if that's going to be your loss, that's going to be on your resume going into playoff season, if you're going to drop another one, it better be a damn good one. It better be Georgia or Bama, and that's it.
Yeah,
and not both. Yeah. Both.
No,
we can't lose. We can't lose to both of them now. We can only lose to one.
Can't get. See, now I'm gonna disagree with you on that. If one of them, if they're both close, but if I'm gonna lose one, I'm not losing at home. I want to lose on the road to Georgia. Okay. But if these games are competitive, as crazy as college football's been so far this season, three losses might just get you in. But this is also kind of where I'm going to try to make you feel a little bit better about this one. Arkansas, I've watched enough of them this year to be like, that's why I was kind of like, hey, this is going to be a tough game. I watched enough of them this year to where I don't feel like that. They're 4-2 now. Good shot at being undefeated. They've lost 2 games by a total of 12 points. One to Oklahoma State, another one to Texas A&M that they had going into the fourth quarter late. I think this loss will look back at it at the end of the season and be like, yeah, it wasn't too bad. Right now it's bad because we had no business losing that game. Later on, winning cures it all. Just win the games we're supposed to from here on out, and we're good.
I've had that same thought. Like, at the end of the season, we'll look back and say, man, maybe that Arkansas loss wasn't that bad. We could also look back and say, damn, that was worse than we thought. But they are a good football team. They are a good football team, and that's important to note. It's not the end of the world. That's my last takeaway from this is like, is that it's not over. The season's not over.
Right.
There's a lot to play for, plenty to play for.
Oh, yeah.
Playoff spots, SEC championship still on the line. It's not even close to over. And we didn't have the worst day of anybody in the SEC today. We didn't have the worst week of anybody.
Anchor down.
But I will say that big orange swinging dick I had last week is now completely flaccid. It can be teased though. We can talk about it moving forward. Let's see how October goes. 1 week at a time though. Let's get ready for Florida.
Yes, sir.
And that's another thing. After the game, my friends came up to me and said, forget what it was. I was like, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap. I'm just aggravated about it. And he was like, well, it's fine. We got Florida next week. And I was like, I immediately got mad again because we all know the history with Florida. I don't feel good about it. We're going to talk about the Florida game in our preview. But yeah,
kudos to you on calling that. Right. Kudos to you though on calling that Central Florida game. Got that one right. But all right, man, we'll close this one out and put a bow on it. We'll give it a Go Vols and on to Florida, bud.
Yeah, it's no matter the outcome, no matter the whatever. It's Go Vols or it's go to hell.
That's right, buddy. Go damn Vols or go to hell.